Good afternoon and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. I am Reverend Cindy Grimes and I am so happy to have you join us here this afternoon. We've got a great program for you. I've got some awesome guests and I can't wait for you to meet them. For those of you who are first-time visitors or watching for the first time, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are at the Center for Spiritual Living and welcome you. You can tell a lot about an individual or an organization by the things they value, and this is what is important to us at the Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. The very first thing on our list is spiritual growth and practice. That is the reason we gather in community. That's the reason we broadcast, is for us to grow ourselves spiritually and to help others do the same thing. We value love at the Center for Spiritual Living. If you come here in person, you feel it. I hope that you can even feel it through the internet vibes that we send out, that we're all about love. We value appreciation and gratitude and thanks. We value community. We value freedom, and that is the theme for this month. Is the conversation is all about different aspects of freedom. We value creativity. We value health, well-being, wholeness. We especially value generosity, and we value financial well-being. So that is what we are about. And our mission at the Center for Spiritual Living is the same as the mission of the larger organization. We are just one of many centers for spiritual living that are found all over the world, most of them in the United States and Canada. And our mission as an organization is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. That means that we believe that we are all magnificent and perfect, and that we all come here with a purpose and a reason for being. And what we do at Centers for Spiritual Living is help people wake up to that understanding. And our vision is a world that works for everyone. So I was hoping that our practitioners, Donna and Norma, would be able to join us this morning. So far, they are not in the stream, so I'm going to wait a few more minutes and see if they can pop in here with us. But I want to tell you a little bit about our guests before I bring them into the stream. And it's Z Egloff and Melissa Phillippe. Together, they are Oh My God Ministry. They are friends and ministers and amazing people. Let me tell you their actual bios here. Reverend Z Egloff is a cartoonist, a spoken word artist, and an award-winning author of the spiritual humor blog Life in ZD, a goofball's guide to enlightenment. Their wife, and that is the pronoun that Z chooses, their wife, Reverend Dr. Melissa Phillippe, is a singer, songwriter, and teacher with 9 albums of original music in release. That's 9 albums of New Thought music. Both Melissa and Z have master's degrees in consciousness studies from the Holmes Institute. Z also holds a master's in spiritual psychology, and Melissa has an honorary doctorate degree for her contributions to the field of New Thought music. Melissa and Z are founders of OhMyGodLife, an online and traveling ministry, and their mission is to bring radical joy to the world. I'm so excited to have them with us, and I'm going to bring them on into the stream. And there we go. Hello, ladies. Thank
Good
you
morning.
for joining us. Yes.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited to have you. As you know, our theme, I think I shared with you and the people who watch regularly that my theme for the whole year is this idea of enlightenment as releasing the BS that doesn't serve us. And BS could be your belief systems or whatever other BS you choose to insert in there.
Yeah, I love it.
And every month we have a different kind of a theme that goes with that topic. So this month we're talking about those belief systems as they relate to freedom. So anyway, that's what we're about today. That's what we're going to chat about. And the reason that you all were such perfect guests for this slot today was I just think about when I met you in the ministerial program, and I looked at the two of you and thought just how incredibly self-expressed you were, and how open and how creative, and how all of this life just seems to flow through you so beautifully, that I knew there had to be a story behind that.
Or two.
Or two, or you know, a few
Yeah.
dozen,
Mini
or
story.
right? Yeah. So anyway, that was why I felt like you all would be the perfect guests for this conversation. So anyway, I generally do start with we start with a treatment, we start with a prayer, and my practitioner couldn't make it. I don't know what happened, but I think I shared with you our practitioners are on the front lines of the COVID pandemic fight.
That's incredible.
So I imagine something came up. But what we have is one of your videos.
Right.
One of your videos.
Conveniently available.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this song, Melissa? Because it is one of my favorites.
Oh gosh, let's see. What's to tell? I think this is one of those ones, there's so many different inspirations for songs, right? Sometimes something happens and then I just like, there's a song. This one I think was one where I just wanted to write a song about being deeply present. I think I thought ahead. Because I was in meditation and I thought, I want to write about this practice of just getting here and being safe in this moment and like that, because that's so much of my life is that experience of the beauty of meditation. So I think it was just inspired by my experience of my own meditation.
I love it. Thank you. It's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
I think I've shared with you all that in my spiritual practice, or when I feel myself getting to, spinning spirally, that I can bring myself back. And this is a chant that just stays in my mind, and I hear it often. It's part of the soundtrack of my life.
Wow,
So
that's
beautiful.
cool.
I like that. I like being part of the soundtrack of your life.
Yes, yeah. So I wanted to give people a sense of what you do, the two of you together, and this particular prayer weave, brings in the music and it brings in the spoken word that you do so beautifully, Z. Yeah, do you want to share anything about this one or this idea of the prayer weave, what you all do?
Well, the prayer weaves, so the prayer weaves are a way we do a lot of different things, because we do some sort of big energy things in a prayer weave. We really wanted a chance to be able to do our thing together in a more devotional format. And this prayer is not necessarily science of mind, following those rules. There's a little bit more freedom in terms of what we do with these. One of the things you'll hear, I don't know if I do it in this one or not, but one of the things you'll hear us do sometimes is science of mind treatment. The way we are taught in this organization is we don't say God is you, because God is you is something that some of us grew up with, hearing that God was only outside of us, which is not what we believe, right? God is in us. God is God is in everyone, right? But I will use you in these prayers sometimes, because we really love that idea of having a devotional relationship with Spirit, and using you and understanding that God is not just outside me. When I say you, I'm speaking to this divinity that's in me. It's in you. It's in you. It's in everyone. But also by evoking you, the I-thou relationship, I'm entering into that rich devotional relationship with Spirit. And we love that. And so if you hear me saying you in this prayer, after all this, I don't say it, but I think I do, that's part of what we've brought that languaging into a lot of these prayer weaves.
Yeah. And a lot of what we do, and it's important to know when we say you, we also mean the you outside and the you that is within. So
yeah.
So hopefully it's in there, but if it's not, look at some of our other ones and it'll be there.
Yes, it's a little bit different than how we usually pray, but it's a beautiful prayer. So I'm going to share that with us and let that be our invocation. Then we'll go into our conversation. How's that?
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. So let me share my screen here. I'm going to share.
And so it is.
Here in the present, I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here in the present. 'Cause I know all is well here in the present.
Hello, Spirit. You are right here. And I am right here with you. I am always right here with you. Right here, right now, I remember this truth. And I accept for myself and everyone listening a greater, a deeper, a richer relationship with you, with your presence. As I deepen this connection, I deepen my awareness of your presence in my life. Right here, right now. And I am grateful.
I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here in the present. Yes, I will. 'Cause I know all is well. All is well. I know all is well. Here in the present. Hi, thank you for watching. We are Melissa
And Z, and you're watching Prayer Weaves, one of the many creations of Oh My God Life.
To find out more about us and our work, go to OhMyGodLife.com.
There's videos,
Cartoons,
classes,
music,
books,
and more.
See you
See
there.
you there.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. I love it. I hope our listeners can see why I love that song so much. You know, how it brings me right back to center. So thank you. Thank you for our opening prayer. So to our conversation, I know you as Z and Melissa.
Yes.
You know, that's we met you already, Z and Melissa. You're already this dynamic duo, this team. But as we said, I'm sure there was quite a journey to getting you to this place of being as expressed as you are. Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey? And I don't care which one of you goes first.
Okay, I guess I'm going first. Well, I know for me, in terms of when I think of freedom and authenticity, there's been a bunch of things for me. There's been several different things that I've had to figure out about myself and kind of bust out of expectations that have been put upon me by society or my own thinking. So one of them was being gay, right? I grew up in the Midwest in the 60s and 70s, and it wasn't even an option, not even like a checkbox anywhere. It's just like, no. And I grew up in a college town, so it was an even more liberal place, but still it was just, that took a while to realize who I was. And another thing for me is my gender identity and expression. So I identify as gender rich, which I like to say is a whole lot of gender going on. So I'm assigned female at birth, but one of the reasons my name is Z is like, is it a boy? Is it a girl? I don't know. Is it both? Like, so, and you know, these are what we think of as men's clothes, right? But they're not, they're just clothes. So that took me even longer. The gay thing I got first, but then to really identify and express my gender. I lived alone for the first time in my 20s, and that's when I first acknowledged it, but it was like, no, not okay, we can't do that. So, and I love the they pronoun because it's like not male, not female, it's singular they, which some people have a problem with, but it's actually, we use it all the time. You know, oh, there's a $100 bill on the ground, I wonder if they realize they lost it. Like, we use that all the time. But now there's those of us who are saying, use this with, we use it all the time when we don't know the gender of someone. But now there's those of us saying, it's me, say they. So those were two big things. And
one of the things about the pronoun that we've talked about is that it's great that it's sometimes thought of as plural for you, because there is both. There's a male and a female here, right? Yeah. And that's why gender rich is so good, because it's both. It's rich.
Well, and she came up with the term, actually. So people often who express similar to me are non-binary is a word you hear a lot, is non-binary, meaning outside, not binary, not male or female in terms of expression. But to me, that word just doesn't, it's not zippy. It's not fun enough. So Melissa came up with gender rich, and we're like, because some people will say, oh, I've never heard that before. It's like, well, you probably haven't. But we're, you know. And then another thing for me was my being a nerd. When I grew up, it was not cool to be a nerd. And so to really like own that and be that has also been a journey for me. And then the spiritual piece, it was actually easier for me to come out in a lot of ways as a gay person than as a spiritual person.
Huh. Why was that?
Well, you know, I even had a thing on Facebook where I posted something, I'm a cartoonist, and so I had a cartoon meme about some spiritual principle and something about acceptance. And one of my old friends posted something about like, I can't accept 45 or something. But it was along those lines of like, this is BS. Speaking of BS, right? Like, there's people that have known me when I hadn't discovered spirituality, wasn't out, and I knew I might lose people because of it. And I did, right? Like, I've had friends where they're just like, where, you know, but I don't believe in that stuff, or you're just looking at life through rose-colored glasses or whatever, you know. And so some of those fears that I had about if I come out as spiritual, I'm going to lose people, some of that has been true, but I need to be who I am authentically, you know. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I was thinking,
yeah, I was going to say, we have to let go of some of that stuff to find out who we are. You know, they actually freed you up to find you.
Right. To find our actual tribe. I was thinking in my meditation last night before sleep and this morning waking up, that because we connected with you yesterday and we just love you so much.
We do.
We just think you're so freaking cool and awesome and wonderful.
And CSL Ocala is very lucky to have you, I will say.
Very blessed.
Yeah.
So we are very, very fortunate in our life now to have a lot of people in our life who are our friends, who we totally resonate with. Right. But there wasn't like room for them when we had the people that we didn't resonate with. So by letting go of the people who we didn't resonate with, there was room for the universe to bring our people.
And one more thing I'll say for me, like a through line that helped me come out with all those expressions of myself has been spiritual practice, because it's like, I am divine. I am perfect, whole, and complete. Spirit made me exactly like this with all that stuff. Gender rich nerd, you know? It's like, that's perfect. So that practice has really helped me in that expression.
Yeah. I think so many of us come into this teaching, and I'm just going to make a big generality, but I think it's especially true of the ones who take it the next step and become a practitioner and then they become a minister, is that archetype of the wounded healer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we have all been through some stuff.
Yeah.
And let it go, or, you know, whatever, work through it, come out on the other side of it, and now feel this desire to help other people, you know, do the same thing. It's like your wound becomes your access. It's the Rumi quote, right? The womb is the wound is the place where the light enters, I think is how Rumi says it. But for us, it's like the wound is the place from which the light emerges.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
That's
right?
beautiful. Yeah.
That's very true.
So I don't know, for years I felt like the what was it in Rudolph, the island of the misfit
the island of misfit toys.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like I was someone
We'll
from
go to
the
the
island
island
of
with
misfit
you.
toys. You know, and so many of us, you know, we come to this feeling like, I'm one of those misfit toys, just never quite fit in.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find out, like, that's, you know, that thing that makes you different is your superpower.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Totally.
I think everybody, even people that we would view as like, oh, that's someone who's quote unquote mainstream, I think everybody has that to some degree of feeling like, I'm not like other people because of this, or that wound of like, I'm not okay, I don't belong enough, is very deep, I think, for just part of being human.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. One of our deepest needs as human beings is to belong and to know we're loved. And so I think that's also one of our biggest fears for all of us. Even like people you would think were like totally traditional, mainstream, like conservative folks that, they're one of those people, right? That like everybody's compared to. But all of us have that. All of us have that need, and thus the fear that maybe we won't have it.
So Melissa, how did you get so self-expressed?
I love that you say that about it. Like you say that, we're like, wow, really? We're self-expressed. So I was singing and playing piano from when I was really little. Like, so that part was, and that was actually for me when I started studying piano at 8 and really seriously, sounds funny to say, but seriously singing and songwriting at 10 and playing piano and singing and writing songs. And so that for me, and I became a drug addict at 13 and stayed a drug addict till I was in my very early 30s. So actually July 31st of this year, I will be, one day at a time, assuming I get there, which I am assuming, I will have 31 years clean. So, yay. Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, you're going over some pieces of the story. Like, how does somebody become a drug addict at 13? That's like, I didn't ask you. I mean, I should ask, is that okay to go there? Because that's deep, man.
You know, at the time when I was 13, I didn't feel young. I didn't feel 13, right? I mean, it really, honestly, I was 6 years sober and I met a man. I still thought I was straight then. That's another story. But he had 2 kids and I was with him for 14 years, and beautiful, wonderful man and beautiful children. And at the time I met him, his children were 14 and 16. And it was really powerful for me to be living sometimes with a 14-year-old, because she was a 14-year-old. She was a healthy, innocent 14-year-old. She still has that innocence, right?
She does, yeah.
She's just this sweet little bubbly light of a being. And it wasn't until then, and I was like 7 years clean by then, that I realized, oh my God, I was really young when I started using. I didn't get it until then, until I saw how young a 13, 14-year-old is when they're healthy. But I had already been abused, sexually neglected. I had a mother with a lot of mixed things. Like she loved me, and she was also a narcissist and very competitive with me. So there was a lot of pain and wounding for me. But the sexual abuse, and then also I'm an addict. So, you know, we talk as addicts in recovery, I mean, I do anyway, about, you know, like what is genetically inherited? I'm an addict because I'm still an addict with food and I'm in recovery for that. But that's like an everyday thing because you still have to eat, right? But so there's that inherent genetic, whatever that is, right? And then you put the wounding in there or whatever.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've gotten in touch with more since being with Z actually is how very sensitive I am. Not just like, oh, I'm a sensitive person, but like there's this whole movement or theory a woman has called the highly sensitive person. I don't know. What's the author?
There's several books. The author is Elaine Ahrens. And so when she says highly sensitive, she doesn't mean like emotionally, it's like highly neurologically sensitive.
Right.
And I am that, and Melissa is that as well. And it's been helpful for us to know that, to help navigate the world and really take care of ourselves and allow enough time to kind of debrief and decompress when we're out in the world a lot, because we are so neurologically sensitive. About 10 to 15% of the population is highly sensitive.
And those of us who have that, the way that you know, and if you're watching this, it's very possible that you are one, because we tend to gravitate toward meditation and spirituality and such. But that doesn't mean all people who are highly sensitive do. But we're the type of people that we like get really overwhelmed quickly at a party or at the mall or at Costco. Like I walk into Costco and I'm just like, too much stimulation, you know. And I know that I am too much for a lot of people. So I have this sort of conundrum just being me, because I've got the big energy and I'm highly sensitive even to my own self. So I think that at 13, you add all that together, life was really just too much for me. And I needed to somehow make it through. And also, I will never know how much, two things, my disillusionment with spirituality and God being such a conflict for me of, because I was going to a private school and I went into church every morning at that time. So I was hearing about God, but I also, you know, it's when you start to have your own opinions, and I was listening and going, well, wait a minute. My best friend, Donna Abrahams, is going to help because she doesn't believe in Jesus, but she's Jewish. I mean, like,
right.
How is that an all-loving God? And it made me so angry, that disconnect. And then also,
can I say what my version?
I'm gay, and I didn't know I was gay, and I was 13 and coming into my sexuality, my body was changing and all of that. And like Z said, you know, in those days, that wasn't something, I wasn't asking myself, am I gay or straight? It wasn't an option, right? So you add all that together, and the fact that I had an older brother and an older sister who also are now in recovery and were both using addicts. So I had access, right? My sister actually gave me my first joint, thought it was really funny to get me high at 13, at 12 actually. But I didn't start buying my own until I was 13, which is so insane. Anyway, and she actually gave me my first hit of LSD. I mean, it was like, you know, I was so blessed to have older siblings. I was in many ways blessed to have older siblings, but not necessarily in that way. So that was how that's, you know, it's like you take all of those things and who knows how much is which thing was happening. So.
Right. So what was, you know, like, how did you break out? How did you break out of that? It's just.
Well, I got clean. I mean,
I was going to say,
that's it. So, well, I want to go back to the writing thing, because the music, that my music was, I mean, I hated myself. Like, I didn't even mention that in all the reasons why I became a drug addict. I just hated myself, I think, because of all of those other things I mentioned, especially the sexual abuse. I had nothing but disdain for me, right? I just thought nothing but awful, awful things about myself, except for with my music. Like, I knew I had some value there. And it was also where I disappeared into, I mean, my parents would do this thing where my whole family would be asleep and I would get up out of bed because I always had insomnia, probably because of the abuse, but went downstairs and played the piano, and they never made me stop. I would play the piano and sing until 2 a.m. most nights. And then I would go to bed. And then of course I couldn't wake up in the morning. But that connection for me with my music, and I studied classical piano through college. So it was really central, and I became a professional singer in a rock band in college. So it was a central part of my sanity. I think if it weren't for music, I would be dead. I think I just wouldn't have had a reason to not OD. I mean, I did OD, but
it was like your spiritual practice before you
had a spiritual practice.
Discovered spirituality.
Yes, yeah. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in college, my mentor at my final college, where I studied with this beautiful man who actually now goes to a Science Mind Center, and we see him when we travel. This wonderful being, Dr. Robert Bowman, who saved my life, and he taught me meditation. I wasn't clean yet, but he taught me meditation as an aspect of performing classical piano. It was part of my training because he would have us do this stuff with meditation. So, but you know, I OD'd, and after ODing and actually having a life, I died technically for, you know, what's that called? A near-death experience. I quit doing chemical drugs, but I kept using alcohol and pot a lot. And that is what I got clean. At the end, when I got clean, it was from those things. So, and I got clean by hitting bottom. I had somebody in my life as an example, and I went to meetings, a 12-step program, and one day at a time, a meeting every day, and a good sponsor. And 31 years later, here I am.
Wow.
So I was one of those really blessed, fortunate beings that I went in, I got clean that day, and that was it for me. I didn't go back out and come back in. So I know a lot of people struggle with that, but
yeah.
And 2 years in to my sobriety, I found Centers for Spiritual Living and became a music director at a center, and then went, oh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I want to know, gosh, we could talk for hours, you know.
I know. Yeah, like our little preliminary thing yesterday was like, what, an hour and a half or something?
Yeah, and it just like flew by.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, totally.
It flew by. The thing that I want to know, you know, I want to make sure that we have some time to talk about is that your ministry is really about having people live in this radical joy, right? That's that's your mission statement, right? What is it exactly?
Well, we are about our vision is creating a world of joy.
World
of joy is like our word, and we're about, in terms of the mission, is to create and share entertaining products. That's part of it. That's like the joy part.
Yeah.
To inspire others to know their divinity. But yeah, joy is like our spirit word. You know, all the peace, love, all those. Joy is the one for us. That's like the core of what we do. So, Oh My God Life encapsulates that in the sense of like, oh my God, you know, and kind of playful, kind of a slightly goofy, but then, oh my God, the word God, and also that idea of just the energy of spirit, the energy of creation.
Yes, because authentic joy is not just like, oh, fun, you know, it's got this depth and breadth to it. So you can't have authentic joy if you're not going to also feel sadness and rage and other feelings. You can't do that. So like paradoxically enough, even though we're all about joy, we're also all about authenticity, because it is about allowing all your feelings. There's this thing that we can do, I think, as spiritual people, is we're supposed to look spiritual, like namaste. Namaste, we have a video about that all the time, right? And it's like, and then there's this, and I always say, you know, we need to feel and acknowledge all our feelings to show that to spirit, to acknowledge the spirit, like, hey, spirit, this is all of me. Give all of me to spirit. And then when we look at that stuff, when we look at the hidden beliefs and hidden feelings, then they can be transformed. But if you just pretend it's all good all the time, because it's not. We are divine, but we're also human. That paradox of like, we're both. That's how it works in this world of dichotomy.
Yeah.
And
So-
life is perfect. And then there's a bunch of stuff that's not right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
that thing that we talked about yesterday, that the both and the paradox, that we, as metaphysicians, it's our opportunity to get comfortable with paradox.
And another reason we are about joy, I mean, we're about joy because Spirit told us that's our word. We do what Spirit says, we take instructions. Spirit is so much smarter than we are. So there's that, right? But it's also because sometimes there can be in spiritual community this idea that not only can we not feel some feelings, but also that we have to be very serious all the time. Like spirituality can't be goofy, it can't be playful, all that, right? And we have a deep devotional relationship with Spirit, but we're also pretty goofy, right? So there's that too. We wanted to be able to hold that idea that it's okay to have fun, it's okay to laugh, you know, have a sense of humor as a spiritual person.
Yeah, it's such an important message, especially in this time that we're going through, because there's so much drama, there's so much pain, there's so much grief, there's like all of that. And I know, well, I'll say it's difficult for me, and maybe for people that look at me like, hey, you're supposed to be all, you know, cheery, happy, you know, we manifest, right, where we focus our attention. Therefore, let's not pay attention to all that icky, painful stuff, right? Because then we're going to get more of it. That's how some people look at it, which is spiritual bypass that we don't want to do.
Spiritual bypass, exactly. Because in the same way that I said we need to feel all our feelings, in the same way that we need to look at hidden beliefs and hidden emotions individually, we need to do that as a society. And oh boy, is it up right now. Hidden beliefs, you know, white privilege,
Not
white supremacy,
anymore.
like racism, all this stuff, like it's there. It's there. And are we going to look at it? Are we going to deal with it? You know?
Yeah.
So we also are really about that too, in terms of being spiritual activists in that way and speaking out to what's not right and what needs to change. Like for us, that's part of spirituality.
Yes.
There was a quote I saw just recently. I might get this wrong, but I think it was Gandhi, and I think it was people who think spirituality and religion have no relationship don't understand either.
Spirituality and religion?
Sorry, religion and politics. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't have any relation, don't understand either. And that it's all everything. If everything's spiritual,
everything is everything.
Yeah.
And it's that micro and macro, right? If we deny aspects of ourselves, including our emotions, including the full range of emotions, then we're denying all of them. Right. And if we're denying what is true in our society, not looking at it, we're not gonna, it's just like, it's gonna be all broken, because that's what happens when we don't nurture and take care of things.
We can't be selective. You can't say, I don't want to feel my anger, or I don't want to feel the fear, or I don't want to feel whatever, because then you cut yourself from feeling the full depth and richness of all of it.
Yeah. And for me, you know, as a recovering addict, one thing I'm very aware of is that that's what I didn't know how to do when I was using. And when I want to eat, it's because I don't want to feel. I mean, it is, you know, being human, it's not for wussies. It's not for wussies. We have such a rich, vast array of emotions in response to life that has pain in it, and difficulty in it, and joy in it. And is it okay that I experience vast joy when other people are suffering? And I mean, there's just like, and is it okay that I'm suffering as a minister, right? I mean, it's just yes and yes and yes and yes is the answer.
Yeah. Right. It's not either or, it's both and.
Exactly.
Right. That's like the fullness of life. Yeah. I love that.
It can feel really challenging to hold all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry, you go ahead.
Well, it was one of the reasons that you two stood out for me. When we were, and you probably don't know this story either. We were in ministerial program. It was our first retreat. My first experience with Centers for Spiritual Living outside of my little center in Ocala, Florida. Like to be with people from the rest of the country, and where were we? I think we were in Colorado.
Yeah, that was
Colorado. We were in Colorado. We were at a retreat, and there was something kind of blew up behind the scenes about what had happened in convention and African American people presented on stage. Oh, it was ugly. It was
It was a
ugly.
mess.
And I was just blown out of the water. Like, holy cow. You mean we have problems in centers for, like, in this movement, it's an issue. Like, I couldn't wrap my brain around it. But
Right.
you all were on the front lines of it and willing to take it on and start having those conversations. There was a group of you that did the dramatic production, and
Oh, we
I
did
just,
there.
I was new. I was just new, and I was watching kind of the lay of the land and who's doing what. And I just remember feeling really encouraged, first discouraged that it hadn't already been dealt with in our organization. That was like a surprise.
Right.
But then that there were people that were on the front lines of it and that were willing to take it on, and we're talking about diversity and inclusivity. We're talking, almost 10 years ago now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was. It was like
Would've
10
been
years
10
ago.
years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not been a new thing in our movement. Let's put it that way.
No.
No.
And it's-
Holmes there's quotes from Holmes about it, talking about it at the LA church, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a whole thing back then. So it's not been not looked at, and then it hasn't been looked at sometimes too. So
it's growing. I think especially as the more and more younger ministers come to the fore, I think there's a generation that's just not going to ignore it.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging for me to see that too, that knowing that legacy is going to continue.
Like in our world, same thing in our country,
Yeah.
right? The younger people are probably going to be the ones that, and that was always true, right? I mean, that's always been true. It's the youth that can see what the older people of us can't see anymore.
Which isn't to say we also shouldn't be doing our work. One of the things I was saying yesterday is, like, as a nerd, I actually like learning about white privilege and white supremacy, understanding those things that were absolutely invisible to me as a kid, relatively speaking, right? It's like, I actually like knowledge, and it's hard, it's painful, and we certainly knew, and as someone who wants to be a white ally, it's going to be messy, and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to say things that reveal your ignorance. I mean, it's not to say it's going to be perfect and always feel good, but it's such an important process, and it feels so good to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Yes. And continue. It's ongoing. That's an unending process.
Yeah.
And I love how you use your gifts and your talents to address it from your particular perspective. I'm going to show some of your artwork here. Just hang on a second. So this is some of Z's, a couple of your cartoons.
And it's Melissa's, I Say a Tender Yes is Melissa's song.
Yes. Another beautiful song.
Thank you.
Yes, love is. So this is part of the stuff that people will see when they go to your website, which is
and there's a place for them to get on our mailing list. So if people want to or are drawn to getting on our mailing list, they will receive 2 videos a month from us. A Joy Jams that's like the goofy, a little bit goofy, playful, but a real message and music. And then another video each month. We've been doing the prayer weaves, and now we're going to alternate prayer weave with next month we're rolling out our new short meditation. That's another video. So it'll be like a prayer weave, but instead of the prayer, it will be a little meditation. So, and then going to a little bit of silence back. So it'll be sort of, instead of every other month, there'll be a prayer weave, and every other month a meditation. So, and then the best thing is the birthday. So every year we write a birthday song, and we do this whole video that is what we send out to our friends on our mailing list on their birthday. And so it's in their inbox on the morning of their birthday. When they wake up, there's this video from us.
It's our birthday
Happy
ministry.
Birthday,
Yeah.
So that's, like, for me, that's kind of one of the most fun things that we do.
Yeah, it's really fun
because people really like it. It's really fun. So.
And then you have a book.
We do. So
And
the cartoons are Z's cartoons. Z draws these cartoons, including that one that I think is just so freaking cute, that little chicken. So so Everyday Joy is a meme like the ones that you just showed, with a little paragraph and an affirmation for every day of the year.
And we're actually almost finished with the second one. We've got
the second book,
11 and a half months worth of cartoons.
Oh, the second of that.
The second. So it's basically a daily affirmation guide. It's got a little cartoon and then an inspirational paragraph and an affirmation for the day. So,
and we have a new book about to come out in the next few months that is about a practice that we created around gratitude. It's a gratitude-based practice that actually is one that evolved through our time together, just doing our own practice, and people wanted to know about it. And then we turned it into a class, and then we turned it into a book. So that's called the Oh My God practice.
And that's the gratitude practice. The gratitude practice we do is about gratitude for the present. And it's also about gratitude for the
challenging
stuff, right? That we're going through. So we brought that idea of authenticity for everything into, which is kind of that core value that we have. We brought that into the gratitude practice. And that also, the third part of the practice is giving gratitude for things that you're bringing in to your life as if they're true now. So it's like a 3-dimensional gratitude practice. So that's been fun to develop that. Thanks to COVID, here we are.
We're almost finished with another album too.
I mean, here we are in Florida this morning, right? So we're able to, go all over the place, but it also means
you're home. So good, Cindy. On cue. Another CD.
I love this platform. It's so easy.
It's so great.
That's just a few of the albums we had here that I could show people, so they can go to your website and find music and
your
cartoons and your videos, and it's just got a little bit of everything. And I'm just in awe of your creativity and whatever you have done to keep clearing yourselves out so that you can keep giving your gifts is just amazing.
And we are so grateful for you, and we're so grateful, even we were saying yesterday, that what you're doing here is definitely outside the box in terms of how other centers are going through this. And we love your willingness to do that and just try new things. And also, I know you're doing other work too with the Peace Center, but it's all this. It's just we look forward to when we can come out there and hang out with y'all in person too.
I look forward to it too. I can't wait. I'm so glad that we could introduce you, so that next time your name comes up and you're in your van and heading on the East Coast, that people will be looking forward to having you with us.
Thank you.
They can go to your website and or subscribe to your YouTube channel and get your prayer weaves and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So, I thank you. Is there anything you want to say and before we close out?
Just grateful. So grateful.
Yeah, gratitude is what I'm mostly aware of right now, is just in great gratitude for this opportunity and for you. We just love you. I gotta say, like yesterday after we talked, we're just like, I just like her so much. I just love her so much. So we're really grateful for you and who you are and the light that you are and the work that you're doing in the world. And like I said, they're blessed to have you there.
Yes, they are. And I want to say that you just made me think of this when you were saying that about Cindy, is that to anybody who's watching this, who's newer to the inner work and like that the thing that's really cool about doing this work is other people can feel it. Like we feel you. When we feel you and we feel like, oh my God, I just like her and I love her so much. We feel that immediately when we met you. We knew, like, we met you and we were like, oh, one of our people, just resonance.
Mm-hmm.
And because everything actually is vibrations. I know that sounds so airy-fairy, but it's actually like physiologically on a quantum field level, it's true, right? Everything is vibrational. So as we do our work, every little thing we heal, every little awful, painful thing we're willing to look at and shift and find the truth in it and love it and whatever all to shift it and heal it in us makes us more of a revelation and a resonation and a vibration of love and of joy. Right. And then we find our people.
And we can remember, because in this day and age, it can feel we can look at the news, see what's going on, see the divisiveness and the hate and all that kind of stuff. And yes, we can do bigger movements or to give money, for example, or, contribute to societal change. And we can go to a grocery store and smile and be kind to the checker, or, we can do.
When we took our car in one time, we had the guy at the auto dealer say, you guys do spiritual work? I can feel it in you. And he had on a mala bead bracelet. We didn't notice until he said that. He was like, I could see, we were standing in line. He said, while you were over there standing in line, I could see the light coming off of you. And I wanted to wait on you. And it was like, that's really cool. That's really cool. That's fun, you know?
But, yeah, and for me, it's important to remember that I can be that place of love in everything, and everything I do, the small things as well as the bigger ones.
Because it makes a difference, even if people aren't aware. That they're right. Like that guy saw it, but the person in that we do this thing where if there's a curmudgeonly like checker or someone that we're dealing with in something, it's our goal and our game to see if we can make them smile and laugh and like feel happy before we leave. Like that's like so fun to get someone who's like, can I help you? You know, who by the end they're like, hee, you know, they're just even the littlest giggle, and it's
kindness. People respond well to kindness.
Right. Everyone.
It's a thing.
Likes to have love.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again. I want to thank you. One more thing. I mean, we're just like so.
I know.
But I don't care. The other way that we connected, of course, was the music, and you giving me the opportunity to sing at one of our.
You did so well.
It's another thing that helped me bust out of my, not good enough, I'm going to play small kind of thing. That you guys gave me a platform and a stage, and so I always appreciate that.
And I always remember that about you too. It's
well, I remember thinking, because when you open the door like that as a music director, right, which was the position I was in there, and I'm always like, okay, well, I'm opening the door to whomever, and you never know, and then you open your mouth and sing. I'm like, oh, I see. Okay.
Did you do Adele? Didn't you do an Adele too?
I did.
I remember that.
Adele rewrite. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember another minister going, "Oh, Adele, wow, like kind of that's bold."
No,
not
everybody can do
pull
that.
It off. I'm like, oh, she pulled it off.
Yeah.
Well, I love you. I love you, ladies. I can't wait to get together again, and hope that it's going to be in person. And if you'll stick around for a little bit, we're going to sign off of here, and then we're going to go on to Zoom. So whoever wants to join the conversation can pick their brains a little more. Maybe we'll show another video. I want to make sure it always sounds good. So you can go straight to YouTube and look up their videos, and they sound amazing, in case there was any distortion or anything through our connection. But I love you. Thank you. And we'll chat again soon.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Love you. All right. Oh, wasn't that fun? I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. So it is time for us to talk about, our giving, sharing our gifts and tithes. So I don't know if you know, actually, I'm not as sweaty today because Richard brought in a fan, but the air is out. The air is not working at the center. We have 2 units and they're both broken down, and it's going to cost a pretty penny to get it fixed. So if you all can see it in your hearts to do, we would just so much appreciate you sharing your gifts and tithes. And if you want to throw in a little extra, that would be awesome. We would greatly appreciate that. I'm just so very, very grateful for everybody who gives to the center, and the people who are staying connected, and the folks that are joining us. We've made it super simple for people to donate to the center. We call it text to tithe. The phone number that is going along the bottom of the screen right now, 352-320-5110. What you do is text that number and put in the amount of money that you want to send to the center. It could be $200, could be $20, could be whatever you want. $2,000 even, we take it all. And if that doesn't work for you, then you can always go to cslocala.org and give us a donation via PayPal. And again, I'm just so grateful to everybody who gives. And whether you give of your money, or you give of your time, or you give encouragement, go to our website, go to the Facebook page, go to Google and like us. It all helps us out. Share the videos. It's just a great help to us and allows us to keep doing the work that we're doing. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and do our affirmation. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for you. I am so grateful for Z and Melissa. I'm grateful. In all things, be grateful. So let me think of what else may be going on here before we do our prayer for protection. We had a great workshop with Circle Up, Center for Practical Peace Building this Thursday. Part 2 is on the 30th. The workshop is called Words Matter. Probably, I don't know, I guess we can bring some people in if you didn't go to part 1, but definitely if you are in part 1, please join us for part 2. And maybe we'll be offering it again. So Words Matter, it's all about talking about how we heal the divisions between us in our families, in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods and schools, just talking about some of the rules for engagement and having those difficult conversations and clearing from our own minds and hearts as we engage in those difficult talks. Let me see if there's anything else here in the comments before I close out. I don't see anything new to address. Please join us in the Zoom chat. The information is in the Facebook Live in the stream. If you go to, let's see where it is. The Zoom number is 637-667-6847, and the password is spiritual. Hope you can join us. And so let's close out in our prayer for protection. It comes from our friends at Unity and from the wonderful James Dillett Freeman. And that prayer is, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And I just pray you all have a fabulous week and look forward to connecting with you on Zoom and next week. Take care. Love you all.